Here.
Oh my fuck!
Oh my god!
Okay, alright. Art. Real funny. Robbie.
So I'm recording this one at the kind of wrong time of year. This is Killer Christmas, and I'm going to record this review in January. But I've got to say, this was quite a fun slasher movie, so I'm still going to do a review for it, and maybe you can watch it in Christmas 2018. So the story here focuses on this group of kind of teenagers as they are out cutting Christmas trees, and there is this rumour of this large kind of old hotel that is in the middle of nowhere in this kind of snowy wilderness. And there's a variety of kind of urban legends there, as you'd probably expect. And these 6 teenagers decide they're going to explore it for kind of shits and giggles, you know. And there's rumours that there's going to be some kind of like vagrants that live there, etc. And as they go there, it turns out this hotel may be home to a killer who wears a spooky-looking Santa mask and wants to kill our unsuspecting teenagers. So let's talk about Killer Christmas. So first things I like about this movie, it might seem a small thing, but I like the fact that there was kind of an even number of people on this kind of expedition, so to speak. It really bugs me that sometimes you have, it's a cliche that I hate, you know, you'll have maybe 5 people, 2 couples and 1 single person. No one's ever going to want to go out and be this single person. It's one of those tropes that bug me. But this time we have an equal number of sexes and an equal number of people. It might be a small thing, but it's important to me. And I also quite like the fact that, unlike a lot of these films, these guys aren't really close friends. A lot of them have only just met, so they don't have that kind of the loyalty. That will come into play as the movie progresses, and it makes for a bit more of an interesting dynamic, because loyalty to sometimes is a little bit stretched at sometimes within these characters, and that was an interesting dynamic that we don't see too often. And you can maybe understand, would you risk your life for a stranger compared to maybe would you risk your life compared to a friend that you've known for years and years. So it adds this kind of extra dynamic that I feel a lot of these kind of movies sometimes miss, or sometimes just ignore completely. So that was quite good. I thought the actual locale here was really good. This kind of like this oppressive, derelict looking hotel makes for a great kind of visual backdrop among this kind of snowy wilderness, and it looks really cold when they're actually filming this. When you can see the kind of the breath coming from these actors' mouths here, making it look particularly kind of uncomfortable and that much more kind of out in the wilderness somewhere, which I thought was quite good. The killer himself, I've got to say, despite the fact that you might think a killer wearing a kind of a Santa mask maybe look a bit lame, I've got to say I thought it worked. I thought the killer looked really kind of quite menacing, and the actual mask doesn't look like it's a shop-bought mask. It almost looks like it may be a Michael Myers mask that has been, had a kind of a Santa hat and maybe a white beard put onto it with kind of blacked out eyes. So I thought it looks really good. And the actual cool thing here, this movie does actually have quite a good twist in it as well. Now I kind of thought, it actually has almost like a double twist, which is pretty good. And I kind of sussed out one of them, because one of them it kind of like telegraphs pretty obviously. But there is a kind of a second twist as well, so I thought it was really clever. But what doesn't work for me, ultimately, this is not a particularly original film, with maybe the exception of the kind of the twist, but it really just is a by the numbers, although it's a very well made kind of slasher film. I didn't think the gore was particularly impressive. I mean, it's more or less just kind of, a hatchet to the back and stuff like that. It doesn't make it particularly kind of gory. And the lighting, because obviously it's all kind of set at night, you don't often kind of see what's kind of going on. And like I said, there is a twist in it, but one of the twists is kind of telegraphed pretty easily. And anyone who has watched more than 10 films will kind of see it coming, basically. The characters themselves, I think they're quite well acted, but they don't seem particularly kind of like massively well-drawn characters, and you'll struggle to kind of remember their names and stuff like that. However, I would have to say the positives outweigh the negatives of this movie. I think it's a well-made slasher film, and even if it's kind of outside of Christmas, it's still worth a watch. On the subject of Christmas, this movie does actually have these kind of like little Christmas jingles and stuff like that while the killer is walking around, which kind of adds to the kind of the fun, making it kind of seem quite kind of spooky and kind of menacing at the same time. Overall, I like this movie, I've got to say. I'll give it a 6 out of 10. Have you seen it? What did you think of it? Leave me a comment and I'll look forward to seeing you next time. Bye for now.